My husband's mistress, Audrey, returned to the country with leukemia, and he became a constant presence in her hospital room. It wasn't until her condition worsened that he finally turned to me, pleading, "Grace, only you can save her." I looked at the urgency in his eyes, an urgency he had never shown me, and nodded slightly. "I can donate bone marrow." I paused, then added the latter half of my sentence, each word clear. "First, sign the divorce agreement." I was meeting my agent, Brenda, when I heard that Audrey had returned for 3 years. I'd been married to Ethan, because he said he didn't like me appearing in public. I resolutely announced my retirement from acting at the peak of my career, to the great regret of many. I loved Ethan and was willing to give up my beloved acting career for him, content to step behind the scenes and be the unknown woman behind him. But no matter how much I sacrificed, it only moved myself. In those 3 years, he had never shown me a shred of genuine affection. His love, from beginning to end, was solely for Audrey. So when he got the news of Audrey's return and stayed up all night in excitement, I also contacted my agent, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. Brenda sighed. "Grace, it's such a shame Ethan kept a talent like you sidelined for so long. I feel for you. 3 whole years of your youth. How important is 3 years for a young woman?" I nodded, smiling faintly. "What I lost before, I'm going to take all back now." Just as Brenda and I were discussing the rising trend of web series, my phone rang at an inconvenient moment. It was Ethan. His deep voice came through the phone, trembling slightly, laced with a hint of a cry. "Grace, I remember you have a rare blood type, right? Hurry to the hospital and give Audrey a transfusion. She's dying." After hanging up, I took a taxi to the hospital. Ethan was leaning against the operating room door, looking distraught and utterly haggard. When his gaze landed on me, his eyes suddenly lit up. He rushed towards me, grabbed my hand, and practically dragged me to the nurse's station. "She has a rare blood type. Quickly, draw her blood. Save my Audrey." The needle for blood drawing was thicker than a regular for needle, and I'm very afraid of pain, but seeing Ethan's expressionless face, I couldn't feel the slightest pain from my arm. The surgery went smoothly. Audrey was wheeled back to her room, and watching Ethan's hurried retreating back, I felt my heart clench. I stumbled, leaning on the wall, and followed him into the hospital room. Audrey lay on the hospital bed, her eyes tightly closed, her beautiful face utterly pale, like a fragile doll. I stood behind Ethan, staring at him blankly for a long time. His eyes were fixed on Audrey on the bed, as if he feared she would vanish if he blinked. "What are you still doing here? We don't need you," Ethan said coldly. My body stiffened, and I suddenly felt a wave of dizziness. I opened my eyes to the pristine white ceiling, struggling to sit up, only to see Ethan gently feeding Audrey comforting chicken noodle soup. He looked at me with a hint of disgust. "I don't know why you're so weak. It's just a little blood for Audrey, and you faint." With that, he gently scooped a full spoon of comforting chicken noodle soup, carefully blew on it to cool it, and brought it to Audrey's lips. In 3 years of marriage to him, I had never received such treatment. At that moment, I knew I had lost. Audrey just had to be there, doing nothing, and she was the winner. I looked at the intimately close pair, feeling only mockery. I pulled out the 4 needle from my hand, threw off the covers, and started to leave. Audrey stopped me. She said weakly, "I'm sorry, Grace. I have leukemia, and I want Ethan to stay with me during my last days. You don't mind, do you?" I retorted with controlled anger. "Ethan is my husband. Don't you have your own husband? Why do you need my husband to accompany you through your final journey?" Hearing this, Ethan stood up, frowning. "Grace, stop being so dramatic. It's my decision to stay with Audrey. Don't take it out on her. Just leave. Don't make me hate you." I buried my fingers into my palm. The brief pain temporarily brought me back to my senses. I bit back my tears, refusing to let them spill. Audrey lay on the bed, looking down at me condescendingly, like a proud pampered canary. I turned to leave, hearing Audrey's soft complaints behind me. I fled the hospital room, finding a secluded corner to quietly sob. Although I had long expected this outcome and had mentally prepared myself for a long time, seeing Ethan, whom I had loved for 3 years, shower another woman with such affection, it utterly broke me. Here, a slender hand offered me a tissue. "Don't cry anymore. You're a little crybaby." I looked up to see Leo smiling at me, a charming dimple appearing at the corner of his mouth. Leo was my junior colleague. When my acting career was at its peak, he was still a newcomer, but now he's a top star in the entertainment industry. Since I married Ethan, I hadn't been in touch with him, so I never expected to meet him under such circumstances. I wiped the tears from my face, a little embarrassed. Aren't you going to avoid people? You see me crying here, and you still come over. He gently pinched my cheek with his warm hand. If I didn't come over, who would comfort you, little crybaby? I felt my face flush, the warmth spreading all the way behind my ears. Perhaps he also sensed the subtle atmosphere, and hastily let go of my hand. I asked, "What are you doing here?" He smiled. "Coming to the hospital is, of course, to see a doctor. Or are you here for dinner?" I nodded thoughtfully. "What's wrong with you?" As soon as I said it, I felt the words sounded odd, so I quickly corrected myself. "I mean, what's making you uncomfortable?" He shrugged helplessly. "Insomnia. I often can't sleep, so I came to get some sleeping pills from the doctor. What about you? Why are you crying?" I lowered my head, saying nothing. Seeing my low spirits, he gently patted my shoulder. "If you don't want to talk about it, don't force yourself. Just tell me when you're ready." Perhaps I had been crouching for too long. When I stood up, I felt dizzy and my legs buckled. Leo caught me in his arms. "What are you doing?" Hearing the voice, I looked over. Ethan's sharp brows were deeply furrowed, and he still held an unlit cigarette between his fingers. I didn't push Leo away. Instead, I looked at Ethan coldly from his embrace. "Aren't you going to take care of the woman he considers his true love? Why do you care what I do?" Ethan's face turned very ugly. "Grace, don't forget, you're my wife. How can you be hugging another man right in front of me?" If I didn't already know he was deeply in love with Audrey, judging by his expression, I might have thought he still had feelings for me. "Didn't you also hug Audrey? Why is it okay for you, but not for me?" Ethan grabbed my wrist, his eyes filled with fury. "I told you, Audrey is different from others. Why do you insist on being so dramatic?" I scoffed. "Let go. You're hurting me. Did you hear her? She told you to let go." Leo flung his hand away, his gaze never leaving me, yet always keeping his hand between Ethan and me. The two men exchanged dagger-like glances, as if ready to fight at any moment. I tightly gripped Leo's distinctively jointed hand, looking at Ethan with profound disappointment. "From now on, whatever you and Audrey do, I don't care anymore, Ethan. Let's get a divorce." His body stiffened, and the cigarette slipped from his fingers. "I won't divorce you," I sneered. "Then what are we? A love triangle? That's too exhausting. I'll take myself out of it and make things easier for you too." Without waiting for Ethan to speak, I took Leo's hand and swaggered out of the hospital. Once I confirmed Ethan couldn't see us, I released Leo's hand. I whispered apologetically, "I'm sorry. I used you just now." After speaking, my tears streamed down, and a wave of sadness enveloped every cell of my body. A hint of panic suddenly appeared on Leo's face. He reached out and gently wiped the corner of my eye with his thumb. "Don't cry. He's not worth your tears. A girl's tears are precious." The more he comforted me, the more I wanted to cry. The bitterness of unrequited love and all the grievances it held for years surged out like a tide. I buried my face in Leo's arms and sobbed. After the emotional release, I looked at the foundation residue and snot on his jacket. My toes curled in embarrassment. There are many ways to be utterly mortified. Why did it have to be this one for me? I lowered my head, not daring to look him in the eyes. He chuckled, feigning lightness. "You got my clothes dirty. As an apology, you can treat me to dinner." Before I could answer, he continued to speak to himself. "But not now. Next time. Let's exchange contact information again so I can reach you easily." With that, he put me in the car and drove me home. The car stopped at the apartment complex entrance. He looked at me, his brows slightly furrowed. "Go up, take a good bath, sleep, and don't think about anything. Most importantly, don't cry anymore, little crybaby." In the dim light, his features appeared refined and handsome, and there was a tenderness in his eyes I had never seen before. After loving Ethan for so many years, I had never experienced what it felt like to be treated with such gentleness. Back home, I went into the bathroom and took a comfortable hot bath. Lying in bed, I saw the antidepressants on the nightstand and scoffed. 3 years of marriage to Ethan had left me with severe psychological problems. Now, I personally tore off the golden veil I had placed on Ethan, only to find he was nothing special, just an ordinary, unmitigated jerk. I shoved all the medicine into the trash can. I hoped I would never need it again. This was the first time I had slept so soundly since getting married. At the first hint of dawn, Ethan returned. His face was haggard, his beard unshaven. It seemed he hadn't slept all night. He half knelt by the bed, setting aside his pride, and humbly pleaded, Grace, will you donate bone marrow to Audrey? Only you can save her now. I really can't lose her. My heart felt a wrench. But it wasn't as painful as I had imagined. Instead of clinging to someone who didn't love me, it was better to let him go, and let myself go. I nodded. I can donate bone marrow to save her, but you must agree to divorce me. Ethan froze, then slowly came back to himself. Really? Does it have to come to divorce? I took a deep breath. You've loved Audrey for many years. I've always known that. I thought if I just tried hard enough, tried to become the person you liked, you would love me, but I realized I was wrong. No matter what I did, I could never compare to her. The last thing I can do for you is donate bone marrow to save Audrey, Ethan. After the divorce, let's never see each other again. Ethan mumbled. Okay, all right. As long as you're willing to save Audrey, I'll agree to any condition you set. But you want to divorce me because of him, don't you? When did you start liking him? I froze. Ethan loved Audrey to his core. Why would he ask such a question? I looked at him, puzzled, wondering why I heard a strange note in his words. I've liked him for a long time. It's a shame he's just like you. He never loved me. Ethan's body stiffened. Perhaps for a moment, he thought I was talking about him. I threw off the covers and walked towards the bathroom. After a quick wash, I came out. Ethan's gaze remained on me, never leaving. Don't look at me like that. I'm not Audrey. His eyes bloodshot. He pulled me onto the bed, pinning me beneath him. His hands wandered haphazardly over my body, and his warm lips slowly drew closer. I turned my face away, struggling desperately. I'm not Audrey. Calm down. Let go of me, you bastard. Don't touch me. You disgust me. Ethan's hands stopped. He sat up, breathing heavily. Change your clothes, I'll wait outside. After the door quietly closed, my tense nerves finally relaxed. I used to enjoy my intimacy with Ethan. It was the only time he truly belonged to me. Now, he only disgusted me. I changed out of the nightgown he had torn and put on a casual outfit before heading out. With enough influence, the bone marrow matching results came back the same day. He tightly embraced Audrey, overjoyed to the point of tears. I said coldly, "Come home tonight and do what you promised me." I sat on the sofa, waiting until midnight. When Ethan finally returned, he held the divorce agreement in his hand, his gaze lowered, not daring to look at me. I had a lawyer draft the divorce agreement. I wanted to come back earlier, but Audrey suddenly felt unwell, so I waited until she fell asleep. I didn't speak, snatching the agreement from his hand and signing it without hesitation. He frowned. "Don't you want to look at the property division?" "No need. Whatever you give me, that's what I'll take. As long as I can get divorced, I don't care how much money it is. Do you hate me that much?" "I don't hate you. You're not worth it." With that, I returned to my room and locked the door. The events of the day left me rattled. I was afraid I'd rush in like a total psycho again. I lay in bed all night, unable to sleep. When I got up for water in the morning, I opened the door to find the floor littered with cigarette butts, and the man's eyes were bloodshot. It seemed he hadn't slept either. My heart felt nothing. I looked at him coldly. Ethan extinguished the cigarette in his hand. "I'm going to the hospital to take care of Audrey. Remember to eat breakfast. We're already divorced. You don't need to tell me your schedule. I'm not interested. After her surgery, we'll go to the registrar's office to get the divorce certificate." "A month's time is perfect." He was silent, then slammed the door shut and left. I didn't understand. Wasn't this the outcome he always wanted? Who was he putting on a sad act for? Audrey's surgery date was set, and I was admitted to the hospital beforehand for a series of pre-op examinations. Ethan never visited me once during this time. The doctor examining me recognized me. "Aren't you Mrs. Fu? Is that girl Mr. Ethan takes care of every day at the hospital his sister?" I said lightly, "We're divorced. That girl is the one he loves." At these words, the doctors and nurses exchanged glances. After I left, they whispered about me behind my back. I've always been sensitive to gossip from outsiders. After marrying Ethan, the online and real-life discussions about me never stopped. I took all those words to heart, constantly tormenting myself, which led to depression. But now, I don't care anymore. From the moment I decided to stop loving Ethan, my life became much lighter. Back in my hospital room, I received a text message from Leo. "I'm filming a show recently, so I might not have time to see you. But don't forget you promised to treat me to dinner." I couldn't forget it if I tried. Then I'll start looking forward to it now. Little crybaby. Seeing this message, I unconsciously smiled. Just then, Ethan walked in and saw me. he grabbed my wrist, frowning. Are you that happy to leave me? I haven't seen you smile so happily in a long time. I shook him off. Whether I'm happy or not has nothing to do with you anymore, Mr. Ethan. Ethan's eyes were dark and unreadable, his voice cold, devoid of any warmth. I came to ask if you need any help. After all, your surgery is tomorrow, I said coldly. No, you go take care of the woman he considers his true love. No need to come running to me. Do you have to talk like that? Ethan leaned closer to me. His breath carried the invasive scent of his cologne. I used to be fascinated by that scent, but now it made me nauseous. I pushed him away. Mr. Ethan, please show some self-respect. If you continue to have no boundaries like this, I won't save her. A suspicious flush appeared on Ethan's face. He seemed to want to say something, but I turned my back, no longer looking at him. Please leave. I need to rest. Then rest well. Thank you for tomorrow. Hearing's footsteps retreat. I breathed a sigh of relief. The surgery went very smoothly. Ethan hired a professional caregiver for me. He, however, stayed by Audrey's bedside day after day. Hospital rumors circulated, everyone pitying Ethan and Audrey, the fated couple, while I was the redundant third wheel, the caregiver. An older woman peeled an apple for me and grumbled indignantly, "You're clearly the original wife. And that woman is the mistress. Why are you the one getting blamed?" I said lightly, "It's fine. I stopped caring about these things a long time ago. After all, Ethan truly loved her for many years. I was the newcomer. After staying in the hospital for a week, I was discharged." Audrey had also been moved to a regular room. Although I don't like her, hearing she was safe, I still felt happy for her. However, this happiness didn't last long, quickly turning back into dislike. As I was checking out, I passed Audrey's room. She spotted me with sharp eyes. There was no avoiding her, so I had to brace myself and go inside the room. She held Ethan's hand, her innocent puppy dog eyes looking at me. "Thank you for saving me, and thank you for giving Ethan back to me," I said blandly. "You're welcome. I should thank you for taking him in. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to sort such a large piece of trash. You've solved a big problem for me." Ethan's face turned very ugly. Audrey said softly, "Since you're already divorced, can you please not appear in front of Ethan anymore?" With that, she looked at Ethan with tender affection, saying playfully, "You won't blame me for speaking out of turn, will you? I just don't want to lose you again." Ethan squeezed her blanket and affectionately stroked Audrey's head. I shrugged, indifferently. "Don't worry. I don't make a habit of picking up trash." Audrey's eyes immediately reddened. "How can you call Ethan trash?" Ethan couldn't stand to see her upset, so he stood up. "Grace, I'm grateful you saved Audrey, but that's not leverage for you to push your luck. Don't go too far." I raised my head. "Did I say something wrong? You are trash I used and discarded, and so is she. You two are just alike." Ethan clenched his fists tightly. "You know I don't hit women. Get out of here. Don't show your face in front of me." "Well, isn't that convenient?" "That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to get tangled up further and prepared to leave. You say we're trash, but how high and mighty are you? Weren't you already hooking up with Leo while you were still married? He's a popular top star in the entertainment industry, I have to say." Grace certainly has some tricks up her sleeve. Audrey was trying to stir trouble, but what she didn't know was that Ethan had been indifferent to me for the past 3 years. How could he care about such things for someone he didn't love? Ethan lowered his brows. "Audrey, that's enough," I said coldly. "Ethan, don't forget to go to the registrar's office tomorrow to get the divorce certificate." Early the next morning, Ethan was already waiting at the registrar's office. I, however, was stuck in traffic for half an hour due to rush hour. Seeing me arrive, Ethan stood with his arms crossed, a mocking expression on his face. "Grace, if you don't want a divorce, you can just say so. No need to play hard to get." I scoffed, muttered a curse, and walked into the registrar's office without looking back. The clerk asked, "Are you sure you've both considered this carefully? Is there no room for reconciliation? Once I stamp this, you'll no longer be legally married." I urged, "We've thought it through. Just stamp it. Then please review these documents and sign and thumbprint here if there are no issues." The clerk handed over 2 agreements. I quickly skimmed them and eagerly signed my name. Ethan's eyes tightened, lingering on the page I had signed for a long time. "Are you really that impatient?" "Of course, hurry up and sign. Don't tell me you regret it." He managed a strained smile and was about to say something when his phone rang. It was Audrey. He swallowed hard, then pressed the screen to turn it off. He then took out a pen and neatly signed his name on the agreement. "Grace, don't you dare regret this. Even if you cry and beg me, I won't come back." I took my divorce certificate and smiled faintly. "Don't worry, even if you die, I wouldn't shed a single tear, let alone cry and beg you." With that, I turned to leave, but as I walked down the stairs, the person behind me grabbed my wrist with a force that seemed to convey suppressed anger. "Are you done playing games?" Ethan's tone was forceful, but his expression betrayed intense unease. "Ethan, let go, put away your self-important confidence. We have no relationship anymore." He stared into my eyes. "Your strategy of playing hard to get is truly brilliant. First, you agree to save Audrey, and now you're pushing for a divorce. Aren't you just trying to make me care about you?" You succeeded. These past few days, I haven't been able to figure out who I truly love, you or Audrey. I just feel incredibly bad seeing you leave. I had loved him for so many years, and even though I knew he didn't care about me, I was willing to be a stand-in. I gambled on that 1 in 10,000 possibility that maybe one day he would see me and be willing to love me. But for the past 3 years, he had taken my kindness for granted, never willing to put me in his heart, and now he says he cares about me. It felt begrudging, like he was doing me a favor. I had loved him with such naive courage. But in the end, he didn't even have the courage to face his own feelings now. He should be the one suffering, not me. I've found peace. I shook his hand off. "But I don't care about you anymore, Ethan. I don't love you." After settling my private matters, I reconnected with my agent, Brenda. She had previously booked me for a web series shoot, and the schedule was already set. I packed my luggage and headed to Coastville. As I boarded the plane to Coastville, I blocked Ethan's number. This time, I was completely letting you go, never looking back. Upon arriving in Coastville, Brenda picked me up. She took me out for a hearty, spicy meal. Looking at the bubbling hot pot with its fiery red oil, I felt a rush of emotions. Ethan disliked spicy food, so I had adopted his palate, eating blandly, constantly trying to please him. I had forgotten to love myself properly. I picked up some crispy duck intestine, blanched it in the boiling hot pot for a few seconds, paired it with a dipping sauce full of cilantro. The crispy, spicy, flavorful sensation spread through my mouth, utterly satisfying. A few drinks later, the gloom was completely swept away. Brenda, her face slightly flushed from the alcohol, stared at me for a long time. "I thought you'd never return to acting for the sake of love. Do you know how upset I was when you gave up your career for Ethan back then? You could have been a superstar, but you chose to hide in his shadow and wither away," I said softly, with a hint of apology. "Now I've woken up. Let's team up and reclaim our glory." Without various distractions, I filmed with more focus and emotional investment. The shooting of the web series was nearing its end when, unexpectedly, Leo came to make a guest appearance. During filming, he was serious and focused, very different from how I usually saw him. After the web series wrapped, Leo asked me to go for a walk along the riverfront. The riverwalk at night, with a gentle breeze caressing my face, felt peaceful, as if all worries were carried away by the wind. "I heard you divorced Ethan. Is that right?" Leo asked cautiously. "Yes, I did," I replied with a relieved smile. "Are you still sad?" He frowned. "I haven't cared about it for a long time." Leo's tightly furrowed brows relaxed. "That's good. I was worried about you the whole time I was filming, afraid you'd secretly hide away and cry again." I stopped walking and moved in front of him. "If you were so worried about me, why didn't you come find me? Were you scared to see me?" "I was afraid my appearance would cause you trouble. I want every decision you make to be truly from your heart, unaffected by anyone else." He paused, then continued. "My appearance now is perfect timing. Your heart is empty, so I have a chance, don't I?" I was stunned. When did he start liking me? I cleared my throat. "You said you couldn't sleep a while ago. Is your insomnia better now?" "It's okay. Not good, not bad. When I think of you, my sleep gets a little better." I lowered my gaze and continued walking forward. "Why do you have insomnia? Heartbreak? Or because of my mom?" His eyes dimmed. "My mom was very accomplished, but unfortunately, she married my dad. My dad cheated and was abusive. I was only 4 at the time. This was a stain on my mom's life, and she could never understand what she did wrong for my dad to treat her that way. She fell into a cycle of self-torment and eventually died from it. Is that why you always need sleeping pills to sleep?" My question was a bit out of line, but he didn't get angry, just smiled faintly. "Not being able to sleep is truly painful." He didn't want the mood to linger, so he feigned lightness. "When I can't sleep, I like to watch movies, see all sorts of strange and interesting things, and different lives. Besides that, I've read a lot of acting books, but I found that no matter how hard I practiced my acting, the results were always just mediocre. I think you're already very good. You're doing better than most people. I lowered my gaze and continued. Most importantly, you know what you love and you work hard for your dreams. You've never wasted your life or worn yourself out. What's your dream? He asked. My dream is to shine brightly in the acting career I love. He lifted the corners of his lips. Is it to prove something to Ethan? No. I want to prove it to myself, that my efforts are meaningful, to get Ethan to notice me. I blindly catered to him, giving up my dreams. I constantly struggled in a quagmire, hoping he would one day reach out and save me. Only after waking up did I realize there was no quagmire, just a mirage created by loving him too much. When the clouds cleared, I finally found the open fields of my life. The web series was unexpectedly popular, bringing me back into the public eye. My schedule was packed every day. In the evening, I attended a gala at the invitation of a brand. In the dressing room, I overheard some makeup artists chatting about the heir to a prominent tech family and the woman he considers his true love canceling their wedding. Hearing this, Brenda squeezed my shoulder beside me, and I smiled serenely. Now, hearing Ethan's name, my heart felt nothing, like listening to a stranger's story. At the gala, many famous stars and directors were present. Brenda was responsible for introducing me and handling related public relations. After a round of networking, I was exhausted and stood in a corner, wanting to rest for a bit, but then I saw Audrey walking towards me. She wore a white strapless mermaid gown, her curvaceous figure particularly eye-catching. She walked up to me, tightly clutching my hand, tears streaming down her face. A picture of vulnerability. Grace, please, can you give Ethan back to me? I almost died once. Can't you pity me? I lowered my gaze and pulled my hand away from her. Ethan and I have no relationship whatsoever. I already told you, I don't make a habit of picking up trash. Everything you're worried about will never happen with me. If I hadn't gone abroad, you never would have married him, but now he's called off our engagement because of you. You're behind all of this, aren't you? There were a lot of people at the party, and I didn't want to cause a scene, so I turned to leave. She reached out and grabbed my wrist again. You still have feelings for him, don't you? Please, I'm begging you, give him back to me. If you just tell him you don't love him, he'll give up and come back to me. Audrey started to lose control. Grace, please. I'm begging you. I'll literally die without him. What does your life or death have to do with me? I shook her off in disgust, unwilling to stay a moment longer. To my surprise, she lashed out in a fit of rage, shoving me hard towards a table laden with red wine. I stumbled, just about to crash into it, when a pair of warm hands cradled my waist, pulling me into an embrace. His brow furrowed, his voice tinged with anger. Ms. Audrey, this is assault. We can press charges against you. I looked up and saw Leo's face filled with concern. Grace, you're truly shameless. Monopolizing while also flirting with Leo. Audrey laughed maniacally. What nonsense. Grace is my girlfriend. I won't allow you to slander her. Security personnel pushed through the crowd and escorted Audrey away. Grace, I truly don't know where I went wrong. What makes you so much better than me? Leo raised his voice. Are you even worthy of being compared to Grace? Leo led me away from the party, and the car stopped by the riverfront. His ears were flushed. Grace, I'm sorry. I announced you were my girlfriend in front of everyone without your permission. I looked down, saying nothing, and continued walking forward. Leo put his jacket over my shoulders, following closely behind me. His expression anxious. If you're angry, just hit me a few times, okay? Just don't ignore me. I'm scared. I stopped and looked at him. How effective were the sleeping pills you got from the hospital last time? He looked confused. Huh? I stood on my tiptoes, wrapped my arms around his neck, and gently kissed his warm lips. His body stiffened. After a moment of stunned silence, he pulled me tightly into his embrace. His soft, lingering tongue danced between my lips, and the scent of wood filled my nostrils.